Hey guys, yeah, I'm gonna do this real quickly before my mom gets home and everything. But I thought I'd talk about how WWE can debut the newest signees. Now we know, now we know some of them still have commitments that they gotta finish off. We know that Shinsuke Nakamura, is the IWGP Intercontinental Champion. So we know he's got to finish off his commitment there by dropping the title, most likely to Kenny Omega. Now, what about Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows? Well, here are two guys that are still firmly in the Bullet Club. But, how do they get written out? How do they get thrown out of the Bullet Club? My only assumption is if they're going to go to NXT, right off the bat, is they will have a situation similar to maybe a Samoa Joe. Basically meaning they will appear in NXT, but also be able to fulfill the commitments with New Japan. Excuse me. Like I said, they'd be able to finish off the commitments with New Japan. That's the way I see them probably being brought in. Now, as far as AJ Styles goes, the person I've actually met in person myself and actually dubbed me the man of 1,000 questions, on the man with 1,000 questions doing a VIP Q&A I was able to take part in. How do you bring this guy in? Well, a lot of people are assuming that the Royal Rumble is probably the best option. And it probably is. But do you bring him in as the number one entrant? Number two? Or you do what some surprise entrants happen with. Do you bring him around the late entrants, like 15, 16, 12? Bring him at a time where you have some of the established WWE talent, some of the new up-and-coming talent, and maybe an NXT star here and there. That's when you bring him in. And when I've seen the Royal Rumble in the past, that is usually between 15 and 20. So I would bring him midway through, or halfway through the Rumble. But the question is, if you're going to bring him in halfway through the Rumble, who do you start him out with? Because we all know the Royal Rumble at times, if done right, can start new programs, new feuds, new storylines. So who do you start him out with if that's the case? Well, my honest opinion, you got to go with Kevin Owens. You got to go with Owens because he's an up-and-coming guy. He has been in the ring with Styles in the past, in the indie circuit, in RH. But here's a guy that you can bring in, have him feud with Kevin Owens, while Owens is still trying to pursue the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I know Kevin Owens wants to face The Undertaker maybe at WrestleMania, but I think they have an idea already who they're going to be getting. But with that said, I would assume you would put AJ Styles, start him off on a program with Kevin Owens. Why? Because both storyline-wise would be very similar. Here's a guy in Kevin Owens that runs away from the fight and basically is a no-affiliate person. Same with AJ, except AJ doesn't run away from the fight and he gives the fans what they want no matter what. So I could see AJ being brought in and maybe thrust into a program via the Royal Rumble with someone like Kevin Owens. Like, let's say Kevin Owens is on a roll, AJ comes in, AJ eliminates him. It could work. It really could. And then maybe you can have Owens cost AJ the Royal Rumble. Let's say you want to showcase AJ Styles for what he is at least get him to maybe like the final 6, and then you have Owens come in and cost him. It could work. It honestly could. And you could lead towards something with that, possibly to WrestleMania, maybe with the Intercontinental Championship on the line. Thus, you'd still be involving Dean Ambrose in the situation, but then you'd have a fresh face like AJ Styles in that situation, and then maybe maybe throw somebody else in there as well that you believe could go on that same level with AJ, Kevin, and Dean. More than likely, I think this would be the perfect time to launch an Xavier Woods maybe towards singles gold. So at least if you're still trying to push the New Day could get that singles championship that they desperately need to show that, hey, we might be a silly, heelish, Kurt Angle-like group. Because remember, Kurt Angle was kind of like that, that hero heel that you just wanted to hate. So, this would be the best way to do it. Let's say you got someone like Xavier Woods, you can launch him, whatever. Or if you really want to get behind the Social Outcast, or at least try to, as some people would say, rebuild the League of Nations, giving one of them a shot at the Intercontinental Championship, putting them in that title picture, along with AJ, along with Kevin, and along with Dean, I think would benefit all four parties. Would benefit one of those two parties. And if you want to do the Social Outcast, that's great too. But the thing is, you got to choose who would go there, and I believe you have to go with the leader, Heath Slater. Now, with that said, I think, again, though, that would be the best thing to utilize with AJ is to start him off in that kind of a program that could lead to maybe a championship match at WrestleMania or maybe just an individual match with Owens at WrestleMania. Let these guys just go out and see what they can do. Now, the thing is, what about Nakamura? Again, he's got commitments. But will he debut in the Royal Rumble? Possibly. They could use the storyline that everybody who's anybody in wrestling, especially from New Japan, especially from like the Far East, New Japan, want to crack at being the WWE World Champion. They could downplay, as much as people may not like it, they could downplay all the other Rumbles as being, great and everything, the winner gets a title shot, but here the winner will actually walk out with the title. That's why you got all these other competitors coming in and challenging Roman for that title, and coming in and being part of this Rumble, which could, make a great introduction in a sense, a storyline in a sense for AJ at first, as well as a Nakamura, and maybe you could throw Gallows and Anderson in there too. But to me, I think Nakamura, if you're going to bring him straight to the main roster, Nakamura and Styles debuting in the Royal Rumble match are the best options. They don't have to go too long unless you really want to showcase who they are. To me, you showcase what they can do and who they are, because to me that's the best option. But again, if you're going to get behind someone like Styles and everything, and shoot him straight to the main roster, then to me, the best option is to let him at least get to the final 6. So at least you could show, okay, we do need new, fresh talent. We do need recognizable people, big names that people recognize, even though they might be internationally based. We need these guys at the top. This is the best way to do with AJ. And the same way with Nakamura, if you want to do the same thing too. At least let them have a decent run in the Rumble before you eliminate them. That's the way I look at it. But I believe that's the best way to debut these guys. And Nakamura, you can have him get eliminated by someone like obviously you're going to have Big Show in there. You're going to have Undertaker and Kane in there. You're going to have the Wyatts. So I believe if you want to start a program with Nakamura and somebody, I think good contrast in styles is start them off with Bray Wyatt. I know some people might say that's kind of crazy, but think about it. The contrast in styles and character, it could work between the two. It really would. So if you're going to have him get eliminated, make sure it's by Bray Wyatt. That's the way I look at it. But give him a decent run at least. So he can, because let's face it, everybody pretty much knows that when you debut in the Rumble, whether you're from NXT or from the Indies and this is your first WWE match on the main roster, you at least need something to establish with. You at least need something that's going to hook the fans. I mean, there's no doubt fans are going to be chanting AJ Styles' freaking name in Orlando, Florida at the Rumble match. You know that. So, to me, this is the best option to go. Honestly, to start them off in any kind of program. Because if you're trying to start some kind of relationship, if you're WWE, you're Triple H, and even through your through your NXT program or brand, you're trying to start this relationship in New Japan, then you got to let someone like Nakamura still let him be the Intercontinental Champion, let him be recognized by that. Let him come in and compete. Let him get eliminated by Bray. And if you want to start that connection and you want to start a program with those two, have Nakamura against Kenny Omega at the next New Japan show. Have Bray Wyatt show up with the Wyatt family, or at least one of them, and have him cost Nakamura the title. That could springboard the storyline feud in the WWE stateside. Again, it's just my opinion. My opinion of what I think should be done or could be done with Nakamura, as well as I believe with AJ Styles. But again, that's just me. You know, I'm just giving my opinion on it. But these are the best ways to debut them. Debut AJ in the Rumble, debut Nakamura in the Rumble, and this way you could catapult them into storylines with two individuals I believe they can really work off well of. You know, Styles and Owens, what fan wouldn't want that? And Nakamura and Bray Wyatt, contrasting styles, would gain the fans' interest. It really would. So, that's what I believe should happen. And as far as how they're going to be brought in, I don't think there's any doubt that since Triple H has been running NXT and has kind of had a say in the talent being brought in, whether it's to NXT or to the main roster, I think the best thing is to keep them as they are. Keep them as AJ Styles, keep them as Shinsuke Nakamura, and go with that. I really do. And the same with Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. Keep them the way they are. Yeah, with Gallows, you can acknowledge, oh yeah, this used to be Festus, this used to be Luke Gallows, but, you know, you have JBL, there's Mark Ruffalo, or Mark, whatever it is, this MR guy on SmackDown. Have them be the kind of guys that acknowledge that Gallows went to Japan and reinvented himself, and now he's not Luke Gallows or Festus anymore, he's Doc Gallows. Let that be. Let that happen. So, you know, because yeah, WWE fans are going to know it's Luke Gallows, but at least get it across to the fans watching at home that this guy has reinvented himself. Get it across to the fans at home. Even those in attendance that will go home and watch SmackDown that following Thursday, get it across to them that this guy has reinvented himself. And I think that'll work. As far as Carl Anderson goes, it's like, okay, he can't be the machine gun anymore, right? You can call him the MG. Call him MG. You call him the MG Carl Anderson. True, it still stands for machine gun, but it doesn't say machine gun. It's MG. It works. I think that's the best thing you can do with Carl Anderson right there. Do you keep him a tag team? Of course you do. Do you reinvent the Bullet Club as the Balor Club in NXT and then bring that to the main roster? Perhaps. But we'll just have to wait and see what WWE does. You know, because obviously, according to what I've heard on podcasts and everything, they can't do this anymore. They can do this, but not this. So, but it's weird. You see Ambrose doing this at times. It's like, come on, seriously? Just saying. But we'll just have to see what they do. But I think that's the bit. But as far as all of them go, Gallows and Anderson, if you want to bring them in the Rumble, that's fine. But I do agree the best starting point for them would be NXT to kind of get Anderson established to the style, as well as get Dark Gallows established to the style. Because NXT is a little bit more freelance, but it does help them kind of like, okay, we're going to go to the main roster and see what happens there. Styles and Nakamura, I believe, are definitely going to get... I think in a sense we'll get that... excuse me, we'll probably get that special treatment because of who they are. You know, I know some people may not like to hear that, but I think that's what's going to happen. And I think if anybody's responsible for bringing them in, it's Triple H. And with Triple H having some say, I truly believe Nakamura, AJ Styles will keep their names, Gallows and Anderson will keep their names. The only difference I think with, like I said, with any of them will be Carl Anderson, and I think it's only going to be taking the machine gun thing out and calling him the MG. That's about it. That's about it. So, I mean, hopefully they don't do to Carl Anderson what they've done with what TNA did with Mike Bennett. I mean, nothing against the Miracle deal, but come on. Seriously? That's not how you dressed in ROH. And I'm sure a lot of ROH fans are going to have talked about that. But still, to me, this is the best option to this is the best way to debut your new NJPW talent to the WWE and NXT. Best way to do it. Best way to debut Styles and Nakamura. Best way to debut Anderson and Gallows, and kind of keep them as they are. So, and especially when it comes to Styles and Nakamura, you're going to get them into a program right away, get them established, get their feet wet, and firmly established into WWE ground. Storyline-wise, Owens against Styles, Wyatt against Nakamura, best way you can go with it. Now, I know some of you may not agree with me, but I think it could work. So, let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. Video response if you like, and I'll talk to you all later.